Good morning, everybody. It's Paul with reporting live from my sofa. You can see we've gone rogue today, y'all. It's Sunday morning. Everyone's asleep back at the place. I'm out here trying to keep them awake by not being there. I haven't shaved in several days. I'm getting ready to eat these two hash browns while I talk to y'all. So that's how we're rolling today. But all that aside, let's do a couple of state of the sofa addresses before we go further, because we've got a lot going on this week, and then we're going to jump into what is going on with Mr. Christensen. Let's discuss the state of the sofa address. This week, this is what we have coming up. So Monday night, we're going to be doing our Sofa Squad Unwind. That's at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's going to be about an hour, and then around, say, 9:30, we're going to switch over to the Patreon site and do a live there, a little bit more intimate, just a few people, whatever. We're trying to build that site up right now, and so that's what we're doing. After that, Tuesday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be collabing with a couple of people on my channel to discuss Jennifer Dulos updates. So there's that. Then Wednesday evening, we have our book club, 8 p.m. We're reading The Stranger Beside Me about Ted Bundy. We're going to be discussing that. Even if you haven't read it, come join, hang out, talk. Also, on the Discord channel, we are taking suggestions for the next poll that we're going to do, which is going to be in about a week for the next book we're going to read. So now the Discord channel, all my social media, all that stuff is in the description below. Then Thursday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are going to be collabing again on my channel with somebody to discuss the Susan Smith case. She's just kind of knows a lot about that one, has looked over it over the years, and I've always been fascinated by that case, so we're going to be talking about that Thursday morning. So I'm trying to incorporate some morning time slots and stuff so I can talk to people overseas, and that's it. So that is the state of the sofa. Everything's good. The pillows are fluffed. The cushions are soft. Grab your coffee, come on over, and without further ado, let's review. Okay, y'all, so y'all know, before we even get into it, Brendt Christensen trial, he was found guilty. We knew this was going to happen. His defense knew that was going to happen. They gave a 10-minute closing statement, at what point they said, we expect you to find him guilty. So that was a known thing. So what's really on the table for them, the sentencing phase. And so that's going to start this week. We're going to be covering that, but keep in mind that this is federal court. There's no cameras allowed, so it's after the fact. So we're getting, not all the information as immediately as it comes out. So it'll probably be a day after or whatever. Now, the death penalty phase is tricky. I mean, this guy, in my opinion, is extremely heinous, and I would not be surprised to see him get the death penalty for what he's done, not only to the victim, but their family. It's just, he's a heinous human being, plain and simple. And these articles we're going to review today show that even more. Let's go ahead and get into these. Now, the first one, what we're going to discuss, because I've been saying this the whole time, and not like, I've been calling this out, but I've been curious about it, is a better way to say it, is the fact that he refuses to show the body. And I was like, you know what, I bet he's using it as a get out of jail free card, get out of the electric chair free card. And this article discusses that, but it's a little different than I had thought it was. So let's go ahead and look at this. So here's the title. Where is the body of Chinese scholar Zhang Yingying? Killer Brendt Christensen offered to reveal location to avoid death penalty. So here's some bullet points. Victim's family was wary of offer because he had lied so many times in the past. Defense wants judge to bar statements in trial's death penalty phase that suggest Christensen refused to help locate Zhang's remains. Okay. Whatever. Again, I get it's their job, but it's a hard pill to swallow, especially with this guy who is gloat full over the fact that he killed this girl. Please hold. Lawyers for a former University of Illinois doctoral student who could face the death penalty for killing a visiting scholar from China said he offered after his arrest to plead guilty and divulge where her remains are in exchange for a life sentence. The revelation came in a late Tuesday filing, a day after jurors convicted the 29-year-old Brendt Christensen in the death of his victim. Christensen had offered to plead guilty and accept a life sentence in addition to telling authorities where the body is, his lawyer said. But it was not clear whether prosecutors could seriously consider the offer. We're going to get into that a little bit more, so let's read this because I have some opinions. You know I got opinions on that. A statement from Zhang's family released by their Chicago-based lawyer, we'll call him Mr. Wong, said that they were made aware of the offer at the time and told prosecutors they wanted truthful information from Christensen that would allow them to find the remains and take them home to China. But they were leery of the offer because he had lied so many times in the past. The defense finally did not say whether prosecutors seriously considered withdrawing the death penalty option. So now the timeline for this is not really that clear either. The defense says that Christensen made the offer within 6 months of his June 30th, 2017 arrest, and prosecutors had raised the possibility of seeking death penalty by November 2017 and announced in January 2018 that they would seek it. This article doesn't say too much else about that. So here's some quick thoughts on it because I do want to. I did a deep dive Reddit search, and while I don't hold that, I'm not going to report on that as factual. There's a couple of things that I found interesting that I want to talk about. So with this right here, here's my thing. It's quite clear that, most likely this girl's body, unfortunately, is somewhere that they're not going to find it. And he probably knows that. And he has lied and drugged this family through so much stuff. And again, there's a whole process of this. Part of me is like, well, let the family decide. It's up to them. It's their daughter. If they want to offer the life in prison for exchange of her remains being found, I get that. I totally get that. But essentially leave it up to them. Now, at the end of the day, what a horrible thing, to have to reward him for that. But I think it's the family's decision, and it's really big on them to find their daughter's remains. It's just they can't put her to rest. Please hold. I totally understand that. Now, let's go ahead and look at the next article. Okay, now this article kind of expands on the whole thing we were just talking about the remains, maybe not being able to be found. And so this one is titled, Prosecutors' filing suggests missing Chinese scholars' remains not recoverable. Prosecutors who secured a guilty verdict this week against a former University of Illinois doctoral student for killing a visiting scholar from China have suggested it won't ever be possible to recover her remains. And most likely, you saw how much he gloated. And granted, we can probably anticipate that out of most killers, but he just seemed pretty intent on saying that they're never going to find her. They made the assertion in a filing unsealed on Friday. It's a response to Brendt Christensen's lawyers, who said he offered after his 2017 arrest to plead guilty and divulge where Yingying was for a life sentence. Prosecutors considered the offer, broaching it with Zhang's family, but they say the deal was contingent on locating and recovering all of Zhang's identifiable bodily remains. They say the plea talks collapsed when it became clear that wouldn't be possible. So, here's the thing. If he sat here and did all this and then brought them, to a place where here's a jug of a melted human being, thanks, life in prison, you know what I mean? Or, sent them on a wild goose chase, and there's numerous things he could do. And honestly, he's probably the type to do it because he's getting so much pleasure out of destroying this family for no reason. That's just how horrible of a person he is. So I totally get that, where they're like, no, absolutely not. You're not going to be able to take us to the remains. Because here's another thing in some wording. What if he did this? So say they were going to do that, and he was he took them to a hog farm and was like, I threw her body in there and let the pigs get to it, because he had discussed this. So if all you're doing, we don't have any proof of that. So I understand where all that went. And again, I think it's up to the family. And I think the family probably made the call of, no, absolutely not. We want to see this guy die. And, I find that interesting. And so we're going to talk about this little Reddit post, and really it's just a couple of quick things I'm going to say about it. I like going down the Reddit hole sometimes just to see what people say, and a lot of times, again, several of you have commented that you go to University of Illinois or things like that, and so it gives context when people add a little bit of information, and it could even be something as simple as this. For example, if you're following me with the Jennifer Dulos case, numerous people have emailed me that live there, and they're like, look, the part of where he went to dump that stuff is a really bad part of town, Well, I have no idea about that because I've never been there. I don't know it. So you see where I'm going with that. So a lot of times you can find stuff in Reddit that might not be anything other than somebody who's familiar with the area or things of that nature, and I find that to be interesting. So, in fact, let me just go ahead and read this. So, this is just another news clip type situation. At the urging of Ms. Zhang's family on December 6, 2017, prosecutors suggested a plea deal that would take the death penalty off the table. It was contingent on finding Ms. Zhang's remains. A week later, the defense suggested a modification that would only make the deal contingent on Christensen providing complete and accurate information about the remains of missing Chinese scholar. He was convicted this week of kidnapping and killing in June 2017. As we read that language, you believe that it is unlikely that her remains will be recovered with the defendant's cooperation and assistance, prosecutors then wrote to the defense, asking whether they understood the modified offer correctly. That same day, the defense counsel verbally confirmed that the United States correctly understood the position of the defense counsel, the prosecution wrote. So, that's the thing. I mean, he could have offered help, but he did something with her body to where she's unfortunately gone. He might have known a place where there's a person getting to it is not possible. I don't know. So this case is all around sad. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. It's absolutely awful. And I will never for the life understand why somebody wants to be that evil towards other human beings or any living creature, obviously. And then just continue that downward spiral. So, we'll see. These things are tricky because one juror could not believe in the death penalty. Cases like this where they are not trying to deny their guilt is a little different in my opinion, because there's no shred of doubt. He is not even trying to say he didn't do this. He's very proud of it. Remember, he wanted to be a serial killer. So that's where the death penalty becomes more real, because there's no question if he did it or not. These ones that you get into where there could be a shred of doubt, I understand when a juror is like, I don't know, because you never know. Look at how many people end up on death row that aren't, that are innocent, or in jail even, that are innocent. So I understand that part. So the death penalty phase will be interesting, and they said in one of the things it could last weeks, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I pretty much felt like the defense was trying to get through the trial to get to the death penalty phase, because that's where they're going to really try and, work things. So we shall see. And we'll be following it. Anyways, I hope y'all are doing well. I hope you have an amazing day. And I will talk to you all very soon. Bye.